and you will definitely succeed, and you will learn something instead of sitting at home doing nothing. Subsequently, you also need to interact with various teachers of your own. Whoever takes a class for you, you should not only interact in the class, but also outside the class. Never leave a question that goes unanswered. Keep talking to your classmates. Keep inquiring about your own questions. Find out answers, and then automatically you will do very well. And further, you should be passionate in your life. In whatever you do, you need to do exceptionally well. You need to put your heart and soul in that. See, passionate people always succeed. When you talk about Tendulkar, whenever he batted, he always had that passion. The passion and a zeal and a strong zeal to succeed. He never took anything seriously. And similarly, any sportsman for that matter, any singer, all successful people, they put their heart and soul in doing whatever, and they achieve what they want to achieve. And they succeed. And subsequently, you also need to do exceptionally well in your programming skills in your engineering courses. Today, automation is the order of the day. Whether we like it or not, industries go for automation. They would like to have less of human intervention in any task. And for that, automation is the only solution. When you talk about automation, it is the software that drives the automation. So in this context, you need to acquire and learn as many programming skills as possible. You also need to be creative, innovative. Of course, if you really believe in Hindu mythology, Vishwakarma is the one who created something, he created Lanka, the so-called Sri Lanka we are talking now. He created Indraprastha, he created Dwaraka, he created Tilottama. If you believe, of course, in Hindu mythology, he was creative and he was innovative too. And if you recall Vishwamitra, again, if you believe in Hindu mythology again, Vishwamitra created the Trishanku Swarga, unmatched to the actual Swarga. In fact, it's a parallel to the actual Swarga. So that kind of creativity you need to possess. Creativity and innovation would provide value addition to society. Ultimately, our end goal is to serve the humanity, society. That's the main goal of every human being. If you talk about the Maslowian theory of motivation, then the fundamental level of motivation obviously is the physiological needs. Then of course is family and belongingness. Then, of course, is acknowledgement and reward and all that. The final one of the pyramid is self-actualization. Self-actualization means what? Leaving a legacy behind when we leave the world, that is serving society. That's what we mean by self-actualization. That's the purpose of existence of human life in this world. We live in this world only once, and we need to ensure that we leave a legacy behind and people remember us for, if not for thousands of years, at least for a few hundred years. That's the kind of legacy we need to leave behind us when we eventually leave the world. That kind of thing. And when I talk about your career here again, you need to be not only passionate, and in fact, I always suggest students not to leave with a bachelor's degree. You may take up a job after bachelor's degree for a couple of years, you may do your job, but then you pursue your master's, it can be in your own engineering area, it can be in an interdisciplinary area of engineering, it can be a business management degree, it can be in something like that. But don't live with just an engineering degree alone. You need to pursue your master's degree, preferably abroad or in one of the top institutes within the country. The advantage of studying in some of the top institutes is you would have friends who would be eventually, great leaders in their own organizations when they start working in their organizations. So you would have a huge network of friends. And that's the kind of network you need to build for your own professional growth and the growth of your own professional organization for which you work. So my humble suggestion to all the students is don't leave with a bachelor's degree, pursue a master's. It need not necessarily be immediate, but it can be a few years down the line later. And that's the way you look at it. And then you also prepare seriously from day one. Your day starts today. Your preparation for a meritorious BTech degree starts today. The foundation for that should be laid today. And for that, you need to attend every class, which I have already mentioned, and try to get a good job on campus. See, companies, when they recruit students from a campus, in a campus like ours, there are only 960 students. And out of 960 students, invariably 800 plus they get jobs. Last year, for example, for 2020 graduates, we have placed about some 745 plus students out of those 900 students who have joined at that time. So obviously, when you start looking for a job on campus, the competition within the campus is far less. Whereas the competition outside the campus, once you graduate from the college without a job in hand and you need to compete, the ratio of competition is 1:100 or even 1:150 or 1:200. The number of jobs outside the campus are far less. Within the campus, in fact, the competition is so less. It's almost like 1:1, 1:1.2 kind of stuff. So you need to prepare very well. And remember one thing, just because you are from Geethanjali, you don't get a good job. You need to work towards it. Even if somebody joins IIT, if it doesn't work, obviously he won't get into a good job. He needs to work for it. It ultimately boils down to your own hard work, your own, passion to do very well, your own, intelligence. I don't say even intelligence, in my opinion, is 99% perspiration and only 1% inspiration. So think in all these lines, and to achieve your academic goals, as I said, in fact, I always suggest students that you have a small group of friends within the class, preferably friends close to your house, so that you can interact with them by going to their house. Of course, not during this COVID pandemic, of course. After this, you should have a close friends of circle, not more than 3 or 4, so that if you have a group of 3 to 4 of close friends who are doing very well, something from them. Always peer learning matters most. For example, in my opinion, I had a few classmates in engineering who are very close to my house. I always learned 75% from my peers, from my classmates, probably 15% on my own, and only 10% from my teachers in the class or outside the class. So what you learn from your teachers is always going to be less. What you learn from your classmates is far higher. In fact, normally we say that it is at least 7 to 8 times more what you learn from your peers compared to what you learn from your teachers. So have a good circle of friends. Again, friend circle is very critical. My dad used to tell me, Nana, I know you are probably, an above average student. You are not a very serious student, but your friend circle is so excellent. I am 100% confident that you would not go astray in your life. And I don't think I became an astray in my life. The very fact that I am talking in front of you as principal of Geethanjali College of Engineering and Technology, having published about some 58 research publications in various international journals and conferences, and having guided 2 doctorates, and obviously I have not gone astray. So, and my friend circle, let me tell you, they're all outstanding achievers. In fact, one of them who is going to talk to you, Mr. Rajendra Kumar Pennan, from whom I learned a lot. He has done after having done his bachelor's in engineering along with me, he went on to do his IIMA and worked in Wipro and NIIT and those places, and now he is an entrepreneur in the USA. So, and in fact, another classmate, in fact, 4 of my classmates are IIMs. So, you need to ensure that your friend circle is really outstanding. Have that kind of circle. Keep talking to them. Keep talking to them, everything under the sun. Every subject under the sun. It can be films, it can be sports, it can be games, it can be, novels, it can be everything. But it should also include your own course material. And a large part of the discussion should center around your professional life, your professional career, your professional engineering degree, courses. That is how you need to, discuss with them. But you also need to enjoy your life. And that's why you need to talk about various things with them. And this is the 4 years of engineering degree you're going to spend here in the college. It is the best time. You would never get this kind of time again in your life. It is the time that allows you to explore. Nobody allows you to explore later. This is the best time to explore. And if you go wrong, nobody is going to give you a very severe punishment. You may meet a little bit of punishment. That's okay. It doesn't matter. That's also a learning again. So please think in those lines. And again, as I say, you should also give wide reading. Read books other than the coursework. Let me tell you, it is not just engineering alone that life. It is various other aspects build your professional life. Your logical reasoning, logical thinking, analytical thinking, organizational skills, presentation skills, the kind of creativity and innovation you bring in your projects, you do. All these things, they matter. They in fact build your professional life. It is not just a few equations from the textbook that build your professional career and life. They are important, of course. You need to get a degree, and to get a meritorious BTech degree, they are important. Those mathematical equations, those textbooks, coursework books. But beyond that, you also need to acquire various other skills. You need to explore. Read English literature, read books on anthropology, history. You should give in such a wide reading wherein tomorrow when you come across an anthropologist, you should be able to talk about anthropology with him for about half an hour. If you talk to a historian, you should be able to spend about some 20-25 minutes on talking about Indian history and world history with him or her for about 20-25 minutes. That kind of wide reading you need to give. Please think over it. And, keep reading newspapers, news magazines, India Today, Business India, Outlook, whatnot. Keep listening to various TV channels. Watch those debates, elocutions, participate in elocutions, watch those debates, participated by others. Observe them keenly. And, you learn a lot from all those things. You also need to learn to modulate your voice. Ultimately, at the end of the day, if you have a highly modulated voice, people would listen to you with rapt attention. And that makes all the difference. When you when you give a speech, people should go spellbound. That's the kind of articulatory skills you need to have. Imagine Mark Antony of Julius Caesar's, funeral oration. That speech, Caesar's funeral oration speech given by Mark Antony. The citizens of Rome who were assembled there, with a strong conviction that Caesar was given the right kind of punishment when he was killed, when he was assassinated. After Mark Antony's speech, they went on to, attack the conspirators. That's the kind of speech Mark Antony has given. Each one of you should have that kind of oratorial skills. You need to develop them. then your life will be completely different. You become a CEO of a company. So think in those lines. You need to have some business acumen too. When you read Business Today kind of articles, you also know where the businesses are going. What would be the future businesses in about 10 years down the line, so that you can prepare yourself to get into those areas. You will be the early one who can get into that. So please think in those lines. And you ultimately at the end of the day need to be passionate. You also need to open your mind, because you meet a lot of people in engineering here later on in your professional life who see the world completely differently from you. But at the same time, you should respect your own ideas. You should respect their views too. You may disagree with their views, but you respectfully disagree with their views. You need to respectfully disagree with their views. Please think in those lines. So keep your mind open all the time. You may not agree with them. Doesn't matter. That's part of education. That's part of life. And keep viewing TV channels like Discovery Channel, National Geographic Channel, History Channel, Animal Planet. These are all the programs that not only give you knowledge, but also, you get inspired by those programs. See, never leave the mega engineering, the impossible engineering programs on Discovery Channel. You get amazed when you watch those programs, what kind of engineering marvels they have been, they show. So please think in those lines. In fact, engineering for that matter is nothing but creativity and innovation, doing the impossible. The other day I was watching something on TV, on the net actually. In China, they moved a 5-story building, school building, from one area to another area, to a huge ground. They have moved it from a densely located area. And imagine that, that's an engineering marvel. In our own country, if you look at it, the so-called, the railway line that they have done it over the, from Panjim to Madgaon you go, the Konkan Railway we call that. It's a truly a structural engineering marvel. And you need to have such kind of passion to be part of those kind of engineering projects. So please think over it. And at the end, you also need to prepare yourself. If you are thinking of pursuing a master's program in the US, you need to prepare solidly for GRE. If you want to get into management area in one of the IIMs or other top business schools in the country, you need to prepare solidly for CAT. Incidentally, preparation for all of that, creative ability, verbal ability, analytical thinking, creative writing, these are the things. And of course, you also need to have some good programming skills too, because for companies which recruit students with a pay of 10 lakhs, 12 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 30 lakhs, they obviously look at your programming skills. After all, what is programming? It is the logical thinking, logical reasoning. It's a language to solve a problem. That's all. And you also use your own English language. Instead of English language, it's another programming language, which is again closely related to English only again. So think in those lines. And what you do, you should enjoy that. When you start enjoying whatever you do, and I'm 100% confident that you will succeed. Because, for very few people in the world, their passion becomes their profession. And if your profession and passion, they coincide, I think you reach the sky. Think in those lines. And this is the best age. Obviously, this is the best time to explore and think not only as an engineer, but also as an anthropologist, as I said, as a biologist, as a chemist, as a literary critic, as a political scientist, as a sociologist, as a statistician, whatnot. Think Not only as an engineer, think as everything else also. And remember one thing, you need to take care of laying a solid foundation here today. If you don't do that, your journey could be quite tumultuous, culminating in something that you may regret subsequently later. And I will be ending in a few minutes. And I know I have exceeded my time. In fact, Swami Bhojamayanandaji also called me on my cell. And towards the end, my humble suggestion to all the students and their parents is allow your what to explore. Monitor your ward's progress, keep spending some time with your ward, inquiring about what he is doing, and give him all the support, whatever he needs, both at home and elsewhere, to the best of your abilities, so that your ward achieves something, a career that is phenomenally great. Again, sorry for exceeding my time. Thank you very much. And thank you very much again for reposing your faith in admitting your wards in our college. We would ensure you and we would assure you that, we would assure you and also ensure that the faith you have reposed in us would not go down. We will keep it up and we will ensure your ward is successful and you will be very happy about that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insights. Before I invite Mr. Rajendra Kumar Penna, our chief guest of honor, to address us from the US, I would like to introduce sir to you. Mr. Rajendra Kumar Penna did a 2-year postgraduate diploma in management from IIM Ahmedabad after graduating from OU College of Engineering in 1984. Sir specialized in information systems and marketing and is still on a career graph that has seen him spend over 34 years in the exciting IT and the IT-enabled services spaces. Sir has been an IT career professional working with globally impactful companies as NIIT, Wipro, and Oracle Financial Services. Sir has been an engineer, a manager, an executive, and now an entrepreneur in both IT services and IT product companies. Sir is currently engaged with a social enterprise. Sir worked in major cities on both coasts of the USA. He worked in New York and New Jersey on the East Coast and in the Silicon Valley on the West Coast. Sir traveled to over half the United States of the USA on work assignments and to 10 countries across Asia, Europe, and North America. Besides his busy schedule, Sir loves a debate and a dialogue. What excites him today is to be able to enable the success of the next generation, leveraging his own experience and skills built over the last few decades. Welcome, sir. The audience is eager to hear from you.
Thank you very much. It is really a pleasure to be participating in this induction program with you. If I'm not audible, please send me a chat message and I can see what I need to do from here, but I'm assuming that I'm audible to everyone. Before I get into my small presentation that I have pulled together, I want to congratulate each and everyone who's being inducted into the Geethanjali College of Engineering today. It has not been easy, I'm sure. You have had to work very hard to get to where you are. And more than that, hearty congratulations to all the parents. It takes not just a student studying very hard to get into a prestigious college like Geethanjali, but also a lot of pain, sacrifice, and pushing on the part of parents. And every child once in a while does need a little bit of a push. So congratulations for all the hard work that you have put in and for bringing your ward, your child to a place where excitement beckons in the real world. And just to give you some context, 40 years ago, I was probably in the same shoes where you are. And today, I may look very different than what I did 40 years ago. But my excitement for tomorrow is always the same. You have to be excited in terms of wanting to do something the next day. It is not enough to get through the day today. What am I going to do tomorrow? That's a drive that you always need to have. So let me just share my screen here with you, and I will walk you through some thoughts, some random experiences, and some insights from where I sit. I hope everybody can see my screen. As Uday and Madam have introduced me earlier on, my name is Rajendra Kumar Penna. Sometimes people call me Raju. Sometimes people call me RP. These are all things that people call me to my face. I don't know what they call me behind my back. But the challenges that I'm sure all of you are dealing with right now is, where do I go from here? You have reached where you have reached. What do I do next? So far, what you have accomplished is a small step for man. That is, you have taken a small step and you have reached this college. But do trust me when I tell you that this has been a giant leap for all of mankind. Because sitting among you today are many people who are going to become research scholars, scientists, people who are going to send aircraft to Mars, people who are going to send people for joyrides to the moon, people who are going to be involved in the greatest of biotech companies 20 years from now on. All of you are sitting there. The question is, who's going to discover that individual inside of you in order to make it happen for the rest of humanity? And you do well, the whole world benefits. Please remember that. It is not just what you do for yourself, but what you do can actually contribute to significant impact on the lives of people that you have not even met, that you will probably never even meet in your life. That's a very, very, it's difficult to prove that to you at this point in time, but do trust me that it happens. So now that you have reached your engineering college, what are the choices that you are thinking of, and what are you looking forward to? First, of course, a typical reaction is, I've made it. You've gone through an engineering college entrance exam, you've gone through counseling, you've done your applications, you've gone through all the heartache. Now it's time for you to sit back, relax, and enjoy. That is one of the commonest approaches that people might take once you reach a certain level like this. Yes, all of us need to celebrate. We have worked very hard. We need that pat on the back. We need to enjoy a little bit. But that should not be the end point of where you are. That is just the starting point. Feel good about yourself. You worked hard. Now what next? Focus on completing the course. That is a very, very short-term kind of approach. Finish 4 years of education, successfully get a certificate, get a job. Well, people have placed enough confidence in you in your house, and you've completed a course, you've got a job. Great. Is that where you stop? Or do you want to think further ahead? How do I make my life? How do I build a good family? How do I have enough money in the bank? How do I build a big house? How do I get through life so that myself and my family can live comfortably going forward? That's the next higher order goal. Again, many people do stop there. I've finished my life. I've finished my work. I've built a house. I've had kids. My kids have gotten married, settled in life. Now I just retire and wait for kingdom come. Or, as my good friend Uday was mentioning earlier on, get ready to create impact. And each one of you who's in the inductees chair today should seriously be thinking about, how do I create an impact? How do I leave a legacy? Looking at eternity, what do I leave behind for the rest of humanity to gain from where I am? That is the highest order goal that you can think of. And I would seriously urge all of you to start thinking along those lines. Don't get overwhelmed by that. You'll all get there. But keep that at the back of your mind. So how do you get there? First and foremost, you need to have a goal. Second, you need to develop some skills. And whatever skills you develop as part of your curriculum is something that Your instructors would teach you, you will learn, people will question you, they'll make you write an exam. But is that enough? Or do you need other kinds of skills to succeed in life? I'll share a little bit of my insight into that. The third point, it is not enough if you learn something and in your mind you can do it. You actually have to get down into the real world and execute. Fulfill the promise that you have, fulfill the planning and thinking skills that you have into actual action. Next step, review on a constant basis. What is happening in terms of what I'm doing? Am I accomplishing where I want to go? Am I getting everything that I want? Am I working hard enough? What can I do better? And if you find that you're not doing as well as you want to in life, and this is something that you have to do on a constant basis, make mid-course corrections and start hitting your goals. Now, once you're hitting your goals, does it mean that you've got all that you wanted? Please do not stop at hitting your goals. See what you can do to go beyond. Because if you're hitting too many goals, probably you're not aiming high enough. Challenge yourself and get to a higher order goal. And that is how you will drive yourself forward. Along with yourself, you're carrying the rest of humanity up as well. Now, how do I set a goal? In order to set goals, you need to start looking at your environment and you need to start figuring out what is happening in my environment. You have to think about problems around you. For example, right now I feel like having a snack. What do? I just grab a packet of chips. I have a can of Coke, and I just go ahead and consume the can of Coke along with the packet of chips, and I'm contented for 15 minutes. Now, what is the cost of whatever I have done versus what is the price that I have paid for it? The price that I have paid for it perhaps is maybe $1 for a can of Coke and maybe 50 cents for a bag of chips. That's $1.50. Converting it into Indian currency, probably 100, 125 rupees. Great. Is that what is the cost of this consumption? Or is there a deeper place? Let's take a look at what happens in terms of the amount of time it takes for whatever you have consumed to decompose. If you had eaten a banana instead of chips and Coke, the banana peel that you throw away would probably decompose within 2 to 10 days. Whereas the plastic that is there in the bag of chips will probably never decompose. The aluminum that is there in the can of Coke probably takes 500 years to decompose. So what is going to happen in those 500 years or till eternity that you are leaving behind your bag of chips and can of Coke? This is the kind of mess that you're going to be creating, leaving it behind for the rest of the world to consume. Think of it. What is the price of the can of Coke and a bag of chips, and what is the actual cost? Who is bearing that cost? If you open any magazine, look at any environmental reports these days, you will find out the impact of plastic, which was touted as a wonder material a few decades ago, and it was. Used responsibly, it still can be. But if you don't, and you basically are throwing away plastic after a single use, you are leaving behind a problem for the rest of humanity. Now you can say, now that problem I'm going to solve. I'm going to make sure that people will recycle responsibly, or I'm going to make sure that I pick up all the plastic and do something with it so that it doesn't affect humanity. That's a problem that you can solve. Or you can say, hey, this is a very big problem. I cannot handle it. So what I'll do is I'll do my part and I will not contribute by adding more mess to the plastic. That's a responsible thing to do too. But you may not be solving the problem. You may have to think of another problem to solve. Now, so when it comes to choosing problems to solve, look around you. There are many big problems that are waiting to be solved. The fact that we are in the year 2020 doesn't mean all our problems are gone. There is pollution, there is environment, there is livelihood creation, there is providing technological leadership for the country. All these are big problems. Good idea would be to start thinking about them as problems and saying, I am going to do something to solve the problem. Now, is it enough if you just think about a goal and think about a problem to solve? I don't think so. you need a lot of skills that you need to pick up. Obviously, whatever skills you can pick up in your college, whatever skills you can pick up, or knowledge you can pick up out of books, you will do it. And all of us do trust the fact that you will be doing it. What are the other skills that are required that you still need to pick up? Here is the sample list. This is from a company that is in the business of creating what are called 21st century human skills for people. Just leaving you the name of the company here. It's right at the bottom. And it is essentially a company that focuses on how to equip individuals with skills that cannot be obtained out of schools and books. For example, you need to have some creativity. You need to find out creative ways of solving a problem. You need to pick up excellent communication skills. You may have great ideas in your mind, but if you're not able to express it to people in a manner that they can understand, chances are you're not going to go anywhere. You need to have excellent collaboration skills. Today, any problem that is solved cannot be solved by an individual. Gone are the days when one individual would go sit under an apple tree, find an apple falling and say, you know what, I'll propose my laws, and people then follow it for centuries thereafter. That is gone. Today, the scope of problems is large. The number of tools that are available is simply too many. The best way to solve is by breaking down the problem. Each one picks up a piece. I take you back to whatever principle Dr. Uday was saying earlier on. You will probably learn more collaboration and synthesis of ideas with your peers than what you can learn by burying your face into a book and trying to pick up skills from there. The very important aspect is curiosity. You need to have a certain level of curiosity. Why is something happening? There is a bus that is going down University Road, and you find that there is this bus which is emitting white smoke instead of black smoke. Somebody has to think about that and say, hey, maybe they're using some different material. Maybe it is more polluting to the environment. This is how you solve problems. You need to be aware of your social situation and your cultural situation. Not everything that you do in a particular environment, in a particular set of surroundings is applicable to anywhere else. For example, there are certain things that you can do in a college, which you cannot do in your home. There are certain things you can sit in your canteen and do, like when you're drinking a cup of coffee, you put your feet on top of the chair, which is right next to you. It's acceptable in a canteen. Try doing it at home. You're disrespectful to people. So be aware of your surroundings as you actually start doing whatever you do. Adaptability. This is, to my mind, the biggest skill that you will need to develop. Despite the best of planning, despite the best of your intentions, you will probably always encounter a situation that you have not budgeted for. 2020, COVID-19 happening is a great example of that. Nobody knew that everybody would be sitting at home and studying for the rest of the year. Very quickly, colleges had to retool. Very quickly, colleges had to say, fine, people are not coming into classrooms, let's get online. It's a major challenge for colleges to adapt. But the ones that adapted well will do well. The ones that adapted poorly will suffer. Persistence, grit. If you get thrown out of a horse's saddle 20 times, try and get back the 21st time. That's the only way you will make progress. Life is a challenge. It is exciting. It is beautiful for people who are willing to pay the price in order to get ahead. Persistence is a skill that I cannot emphasize enough on. Taking initiative. Get ahead. Sometimes you end up people thinking that, hey, this guy just doesn't know anything, but he still jumps into the fray. Eventually, you'll figure out how to know everything and then jump into the fray. But you have to jump into the fray. Leadership. And finally, critical thinking. Critical thinking is basically depending on data in order to assess a situation and then solving the problem. These are not skills that you can pick up in a classroom. These are skills that you either go to a specialized institute to get trained on, or you basically learn through experience. Like everything else, it is better to get input if you can. Do a Google search for all of these things, and I'm sure you'll find out what I'm talking about. One Once you figure out your goal and you acquire the skills, you are going to basically start doing, analyzing for feedback, taking corrective action, and then moving forward. In all of that, your best friend is data. Take a hard look at numbers. Be objective, be focused, and don't be afraid to say, I failed in something that I did. One of the things that happened to me in my engineering college career was I had a great first year. Like you, when I was inducted, my first year was a very easy process. The second year, life started getting a little tough. The second semester was really tough. And at that point in time, I realized that whatever I was used to in terms of my performance was not where I was at in second year, second semester. Two choices. I would have said, you know what, let me just get through this entire engineering course anyway and do something else later on. Or buckle down to the task and say, okay, I'll get more serious and do something about it. So it is important that you acknowledge failure to yourself. You have to believe that you did something which was not good enough and do something to actually make it better. Rededicate yourself to the goal. Take small steps, you will get back in the saddle. Celebrate all small wins till winning becomes a habit. It is not rocket science to make successful careers out of the baby steps that you already have taken to get where you are. Executing well, this is what I was talking about. Focus on data. And whether you're building a business, whether you're building a career, whether you're solving a big problem, it is always the non-sexy, non-exciting parts of your day-to-day work that actually will give you the best results. You have to have the ability to sit down at a desk, take a look at some hard numbers and start analyzing to yourself. Today you have tools, today you have AI, you have ML, but again, you need to know what data you are looking for. Any point in time, clarity, focus, discipline will help. And taking you back to what I said about collaboration, if you want to go very fast, do it alone. That's the best way to go fast. Leave everybody behind. Everybody is trying to figure out whether they want to get on a bus or on a motorcycle. You jump onto the back of a cycle which somebody is driving, somebody is riding, and you can get ahead of everybody else. You'll go fast. But will you go very far? If you have to go far, you have to know how to get along with people and carry everybody along with you. Life is a roller coaster, and generally, and purely my personal notion, chasing money is not the most important objective. Try to do something very well. Solve a problem that you've identified. Focus on solving the problem. Money will follow. I want to share a little bit of my personal experience trying to relate all the things that I've been talking about to this now. So my personal journey actually was not begun by me. Somebody else began it. He was driving through the hills of Uttarakhand, India. And he saw a picture like this. These are two ladies who are carrying enormous loads of twigs and trees and branches and leaves on their heads and probably walking 5-10 kilometers on a daily basis to take it to the market, sell it, make some money, go back and take care of their families. This, to me, is a very inherently offensive picture that in the 21st century, in an advanced country, there is so much of knowledge, so much of technology. We're a $2 trillion economy. If we see this kind of thing where two poor ladies have to spend days for all of us, we have failed the country. As educated people, we have not done what we should have in order to avoid such problems. Inherently, on the top of things, this is how he reacted and said, this has got to stop. So what do? He started a company called B2R, and B2R is a company that I'm involved with as an investor, as an executive, as a guide, as a mentor. And just to give you a little bit of history, this was a company that was started in 2009. And it was a very exciting idea at that point in time. Social enterprise, creating jobs in rural parts of India. Everybody said this is going to be great. The venture capitalists came, funded the enterprise. But unfortunately, venture capitalists knew how to throw money at the problem. not exactly how to solve the problem. Solving the problem required all the other skills that I talked about. You needed empathy, you needed collaboration, you needed to take a bunch of people along with you, you needed good communication. Net, the company started failing. So I joined the company around the time the company was going downhill, February 2014. We took a call saying probably in 3 months' time, we'll close down the company. But then grit, perseverance, focus, and intellect, it needs brains to actually solve problems of this nature. All of them came together. We came up with a plan where we said, we will let go of some people. Some people we had to make them leave the job. We said the remaining people will take pay cuts so that the company can survive. And slowly but steadily, we started building it back up. In about a year's time, by March 2015, we were what was called cash flow neutral, in the sense we were able to manage our expenses with whatever money we were making, rather than having to put money in from outside. So that is not exactly a profitable situation. We were not making profits, but we were just ensuring that we kept our head above water. One more year, March 2016, we started making profits as well. Profits are a good thing. It means you can take money out of the business, or you have money to invest back in the business to grow it further, which is what we did. And between March 2016 and March 2020, every single year we have made a profit, including this year, 2020 to 2021, when businesses took a major hit. Not a single one of our customers has left us. And we did not have to fire or let go of a single employee. And currently, we employ 300. The thing about such businesses is not the fact that you employ certain people, but because you're having so many employees, there's a little restaurant that gets started next to our office. There's a little 10-year-old who gets hired for cleaning the tables. All of them are actually benefiting from the ecosystem that we create. So whenever you think of solving problems by doing something on your own, becoming an entrepreneur, the spin-off benefits are great. Too many people will be very grateful to you for having done what you do. It's tough, it's hard, but then that's the reason why I think we have built up our intellect. So it does not take much to convert this into this, where the same lady now goes to an office and starts working. It's an air-conditioned setup. They work with the best computers on earth, the Dells, the Lenovos of the world, and they go into an office where the environment is safe, secure. There's a daily routine that they follow. And the best part of all, at the end of the day, they have a paycheck. This is a good improvement. This is better. About a couple of years ago, we had done a project in the country of Mexico, and we took 5 people from the hills of Uttarakhand over to Mexico to actually help build a team in Mexico. 4 of the 5 had before that point in time. So the first time they went out of their village, they actually went to Mexico. It was a great feeling for me when we spent 3 months here and made enough money to pay off all our loans that we had acquired. We had acquired over the last couple of decades. The kind of impact that you can think of creating when you actually get down into the weeds. Or do you stop here or go to this? This is the most heartening aspect of all to me. There are 6 villages in the state of Uttarakhand where I'm involved in this particular project. Practically every one of them, every child in the village is going to school, which essentially means 16 years later, there'll be so many more people clamoring for engineering college seats. 35 years later, there'll be so many more people creating enterprises, creating livelihoods, creating a machine and an engine that can grow the country, grow the economy, and grow everybody around you. So the question to you, of course, is what will you choose to do? Whatever it is, choose wisely. Whatever it is, don't stop working hard. There is no substitute to hard work. whatever it is, make sure that you enjoy life. It is not just a drudgery. It's not like you get up in the morning, go to office, come back in the evening, take care of some things at home, go to sleep, get up next morning, go to office. Don't get used to that kind of routine too early on. You'll have responsibilities, no doubt about that. But remember, life has got a million gifts. You have to go. You have to go to a foreign country. You have to do some work there. You have to climb some mountain. You have to swim in the ocean. All these are things that you have to do. Enjoy the million gifts that life will provide you. Focus on changing the world. All of you, each one of you can actually change the world. And from my side, I wish you the best in everything. So this is a little picture. This was me in 1984 when, as part of our engineering college, we all had gone to Vishakhapatnam and Bhimli and Araku Valley on a so-called industrial tour. It was much more than industrial tour. I think we discovered each other as friends. And this is me in 2005 on top of a mountain peak here in California called the name just is escaping me. This was a 9,000 foot peak and in the Yosemite Park of California. And I don't think I have changed too much in terms of my ability to enjoy either the sea level experience or the mountaintop experience. The challenge that I've always had is to stay grounded and stay the same. So thank you very much. Wish you the very, very best always. I will leave you. He wanted to solve and said,